Hey, all you gooders and shoot-test cats out there. Welcome to Unit 5, Section 14, Integrated Pest Management. There's definitely been FRQs on this in the past. So integrated pest management is a combination of methods used to effectively control pest species while minimizing the disruption to the environment. So you do use chemical, maybe pesticides, but it's at a last resort. So you look at sustainability, economics, practicality, and integration of all of these things. So you monitor it, use biological agents, chemical controls, and various cultural practices and preventative measures to deal with whatever the thing is. So, down here. So first you want to do your cultural stuff. And as you go up, we're increasing in toxicity and going less from prevention to intervention. So the more you can prevent, the less you have to deal with later. So cultural things, good sanitation, habitat change, whatever. Physical, mechanical would be like a flea or lice combs, having screens, proper clothing to keep the pests off of you. Biological are things like predators or parasites that would eat whatever the bad thing is. And then you go to your chemical stuff. And you have biorational things, which are more repellent, things, diatomaceous earth, oils, things that inhibit the growth, insect growth, microbials, and then things that will actually kill on contact. But if you do all of these things, you get to do this a lot less. So I have a pond in my backyard, and standing water, just a little fish pond. And standing water is really bad because it attracts mosquitoes, well, mosquito eggs. So I make sure that the water stays really clean. I've put water plants in there to oxygenate it, and then I put in a bubbler so the water is moving. So that's your physical part. So I have the plants and I have the bubbler to put oxygen in the water and to keep the water moving because mosquitoes like to lay on still water. Biological, I have fish in there. I just got some cheap feeder fish, threw them in my pond. They're happy in there. They're getting big. But all of these things would then deal with the mosquito eggs. I also have various marigolds and other things that mosquitoes don't like the smell of. And so by planting all of those things, I'm keeping my mosquito level down. So mosquitoes aren't a big issue in my backyard because I've done all of these things. So then I don't need to put the chemicals on myself, the bad stuff. I'll use tea tree oil if I use anything, and the mosquitoes usually leave me alone. So I can do all of these things and then not have to put the nasty bug spray on me. Crop rotation and intercropping is another thing you can do for integrated pest management. I think this is really cool. So if you've got an area with lots of weeds or just not the best soil, you can mulch the bed. So you have lots of the mulch or hay, straw, whatever on top. So plant things that can thrive under the mulch. And so all that mulch is making that soil better, but you can still have crops that first year. Second year, you'll have more of a transitional bed. So you'll grow stuff that like broccoli that will help keep the weeds away. And then year 3, you've got much healthier soil and no weeds. And so then you can grow something like carrots. You can use pest-resistant varieties. So if you want aphids to go away, you would plant this nasturtium with your broccoli and make aphids go away. If you plant your bush beans and potatoes near each other, they'll keep these guys away. If you plant onions by your lettuce, I need to do that. It'll keep the rabbits away. We lost a lot of lettuce to rabbits. And then if you plant daffodils with your tomatoes, you get pretty flowers and it keeps the mice away. So that's a cool little thing. You also can create habitats for the predators of your pests. So we like ladybugs because they eat aphids and whiteflies. So if you have dill or dandelion around, it will bring the ladybugs in to eat these guys. Same with ground beetles. You want clover and evening primrose. So if you plant these things in your yard or in your garden, they'll bring in the good bugs to make the bad bugs go away. And once again, all you have to do is plant a plant. Pretty easy. Dill grows like crazy, and I don't think anyone can kill it. I kill cactuses, and I have not been able to kill dill. So dill is an easy one to plant. So understand all of these things come into play when you're doing integrated pest management. And chemical controls is the last resort. So understand all of these things happen first, and then you may use some chemicals. So it is not the same as organic, because you still may use chemicals to make the pests go away, but it's a much, much smaller amount and only as a last resort. So benefits to integrated pest management. It reduces the need for pesticides. It reduces the potential for air and groundwater contamination, and it protects the non-target species because you're using different methods. Drawbacks is going to require more time, effort, planning, and money up front, but once again, some of them aren't that bad. And they can possibly alter the ecosystems. Introduction of a pest predator could happen, and it does not eliminate the use of pesticide use completely, but they definitely, I would say, farms need to be, and anywhere needs to be, using more of this integrated pest management to reduce the amount of chemicals out there. Disney does this every night. They release about 400 cats out into Disneyland and Disney World. They go through, get all the mice out of there, and then they come back and they sleep the day away. Because if you're in a place like Disney, you don't want poison out for little kids to get hold of, and you don't want traps out for little kids to get hold of. So they use cats. They use the natural predator of the mice. So it's a pretty nifty little setup. And we have finished notes. So before I go, I want to let each and every one of you know that you are good enough, you are smart enough, and people do like you. And in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good God, do your homework.